Because we wouldn't be coming down here if there wasn't a dedicated bunch that wanted us. So kind of it's reciprocal, you know. We're very grateful. Actually, we still owed a platinum disc from the record company for This Is My Truth as well. So it's probably hiding in a store cupboard somewhere. But you know, we wouldn't be down here if it wasn't for fans, let's face it. I'm sure it's going to be once in a lifetime. It could be the first and last time, so you know, if you're coming along, make the most of it, we will. You know, we're not kind of promoting anything on this little trip. It's kind of good in some ways, you know. It's a nice feeling to just do something less pressurised. Coming to New Zealand is slightly different because we just feel so guilty about never coming here. I mean, it just doesn't feel. There's a kind of little nagging thought at the back of our heads. There's two places we've got left really where there's Manic's hardcore, and one's Argentina and one's New Zealand. So Argentina is the last bastion that we haven't reached.
Should have gone for you.
Well, I think naturally, you know, your audience grows with you. You know, there is a weird phenomenon where, you know, we've been going so long that people who were into us in their teens are now bringing their children with them. So you get a kind of young influx as well, which is important because kind of youth is always the vitality to a band. I think you need that vampiric injection of new blood, which we've been lucky to have with songs like You Love Alone and It's Not War. We've always gained some new fans, but I guess overall people tend to stick with us. I don't know, there's some weird brand of loyalty associated with us. We're doing a festival in Wales in September, in North Wales, festival number 6. Probably the first time that we'll play something new, because we haven't had a chance to rehearse it properly yet. And to be honest, I think coming over here, people just want to hear from You Love Us through, you know, This Is My Truth and onwards. And we're trying to do it pretty much. I think the only thing we're not doing is a track of Lifeblood. I think we're doing a track of every. That's not a particularly conscious decision, it's just that we haven't rehearsed anything. Well, I brought a mastered album with me. We finished mixing and mastering before we left. And yeah, it sounded really good in Melbourne on stereo. It sounded even better here. The kind of melancholy infused into my surroundings in Auckland felt very comfortable. Reminded me of being in Wales a bit. And woke up really early with jet lag and the sun was coming up. And I was playing the new album. It's very acoustic, very tender, very delicate. And it's finished. The first time you'll be able to hear something, or how it works anymore, I can't even say singles or instant grats, God knows, but in a couple of weeks' time there should be something on the radio, yeah. See, me and James in particular, we learned our trade busking back in the 80s on the streets of Cardiff. You know, football matches or rugby matches were always a bonus because people were so drunk they'd chuck in more money than they meant to. And we'd do Just Like Honey or by the Mary Chain or Villiers Terrace by the Bunnymen. Used to be camper van Beethoven, take the Skinheads bowling, and just to try and get enough money to buy a 7-inch from Spillers Records and a Wimpy burger. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow morning. see if we can get some New Zealand dollars in our back pockets. It was a different way of doing things back then. It was kind of, we were still in crappy little buses and, you know, playing. Even though everything was starting to really take off, it didn't feel like it the way we were touring. And I think there's been an explosion, not just because, you know, not in our world, in everyone's world, that touring has changed drastically. Having said that, when we get on stage, it's still us making a right old racket. We've hardly really become much more subtle. The only thing is, you know, is our bodies are not quite up to the standard of movement that we had back then. But, you know, I really miss, but they still try.
Steady on, Farrow.